Good evening. Got 4 minutes. Did I do all these yet? I did. Oh, it has the completed thing in the top right. Yeah, well, the collab banner is for fans only. No, it's kind of like the Kingdom Hearts thing, except worse. The relics can be good, but with no way to improve the characters in the future. It makes everything on the banner worse than it actually looks. Because when you pull on banners and get stuff for a certain objective, like for a certain fight, or maybe 2 fights, or maybe more, that's great. But what you're also doing, and what is intangible and always flies under the radar, is those things that you're pulling have the potential to be good for the entire lifespan of the game. Because you may get something else on that character for something in the future. And then that thing that you pulled in the past may be worth using. Along with that new power creep thing that you get, you know, a year from now, or whatever. Like, I used Ovelia's Super Soul Break in the Final Fantasy Tactics Dream Breaker. This years, many years after I actually got it. But that's because she has a role in the game. Not only does she have a role in the game, but I also got 2 USBs for her, which I both used in that fight. Further down the line, which maintained her usefulness. The Brave Exvius characters are... That's it. You'll never get anything for them ever again. So that intangible value that you have for regular, normal characters in this game don't exist for those. I don't doubt it. The banner is full of stuff made to kill White Odin. That's it. Yeah, they'll be in the elemental ticket pool, so they do have that advantage over Kingdom Hearts that you can fill out the character with their current things. But they'll never improve. That's the point I'm trying to make. And, you know, okay, how long is the game gonna last? Don't know. So, if I had any clue at all, that would help make the decision. But since I don't have any clue, I have to treat the banner as I would any other, which is everything on the banner has lower value than anything else that could be pulled on. So it's not even close to being worth Mithril. It's for fans. What's the bet gonna be? This should be a good bet. Masterwork, congrats. Yeah, that's a damn good pull. They announced that all the awards are going to be handed out today. I don't know why I think people would think that they would come in at another time. So yeah, what should be the bet? How many, They actually corrected it. The Twitter with a different date. They made another post a couple hours later that said, nope, this was an error. It's actually the 26th. How many syncs will I get? Doing the raid? I don't know. Maybe. Got other plans first. Let me open the bot. Let me see. Jesus, Razor. That's one hell of a pull. This is a really generous campaign, and I'm glad that the generosity has nothing to do with Brave Exvius. 340 pulls and 5 Realm Elemental tickets. All right, we'll take that. Go Brave Exvius. The existence of that game just gave us 8 free pulls. I'll happily tread that line. How many wokes? How many awakenings will Dirge pull from his 340 rows? Woke or better. So syncs can also count. Limit breaks do not, because they suck. I guess I'll add a ton of options for this. I'll go up to 15. Just in case anyone wants to get saucy. 10 minutes on the timer. At the end of the 10 minutes, that's when I'll be pulling. Yeah, Rob, I actually went over this probably right before you joined. But yes, it's dead. I have no... I have such a terrible evaluation of this banner because of... Yeah, the characters are dead. The realm doesn't exist. Might as well get real things for your 50... Like, 25 mithril is not a good enough... 10 or 15 mithril, I would have said, alright, go for it. I'll go for it for 10 or 15. 25 is just too much. For DOA shit. No problem. Yeah, it's not that they're bad, but they are the same power level as characters that have a lot more value than they do. You know, if there weren't good banners, imminent. Next month is the festival, and it's quite a good one. That would be one thing if it was like an oasis in the middle of a bunch of junk, but it's not. Worth. Just a 3. So you get 3 40 draw tickets and 5 elemental and realm tickets. The elemental and realm tickets are just added to my pool. I had no intention on pulling anyway, so they're just getting saved. Not less. My estimate. So, in Japan, the release of the refresh of their realm and elemental banners was at the end of April. So, turn the clock forward 6 months. End of October would be ours. I don't think that they would want to launch those too close to the festival, so I believe that end of October is probably the same place that we're going to get it in the same place that they did. If we don't get it then, I would expect it to be later, not sooner. But yeah, end of October. And that's a good time for it, because the festival will be on it. The festival, and notably Final Fantasy XIV, which turns the Final Fantasy XIV pool into going like back from where it was a year ago, going from 0 to hero. Because it was such a small pool that adding all of these good relics to it all at once, it basically makes it just fills it out so well. So realms with the bigger pools are going to be the albatrosses, and they're probably always going to be the worst ones. Like, you know, Final Fantasy IV. And it's not because there's bad things in Final Fantasy IV, there's a ton of good things. It's because they're carrying around a lot of old weight. So the pools are BSB+, so you will... It's easy to figure out which pools carry the highest amount of value. It's the ones with the least amount of BSBs. The ones that didn't get a lot of events during the BSB era. Or didn't have a lot of characters at the time, so there weren't a lot of BSBs to provide. Final Fantasy XIV is one of those pools. They could. I don't expect that to happen anytime soon. If at all. Hey, eventually, power creep ever marches forward. But... there's still a lot of value in LMRs. But I think if you cut out some of the junk, I think you make ticket banners so good that well, I would assume so. Didn't you get, like, Laswell's entire kit? His entire kit is gonna be better than Ayame. Because she doesn't have access to a sync. You should bring Laswell to the Final Fantasy XI Dreambreaker. Instead of Ayame. Three minutes and 10 seconds left. How many tickets are we up to now? I literally just announced the timer, Will. Like, seconds before you asked. 17. That's my Final Fantasy XIV gear. Hopefully. It might end up being 17. Probably not, though. I do think the pool is really tiny. But who knows? I don't have anything in the realm. And that's why I mentioned to Cointown way back with the Alphino chain thing that I am going to be going heavy on that, and it would really, really suck to select a dupe before the point that I actually need it. Let's see, how many relics are in the Final Fantasy XIV pool at the moment? $54. Easily the smallest pool other than core. And that's There it is. That's the value. It's such a small pool. It may be full of junk, but it's really small. So adding modern shit to it. I think the next smallest after that is Final Fantasy 11 and 15. Final Fantasy 11 and 15 are both going to be good pools too. 15 is already a good pool. For the same reason the 14 becomes one. Final Fantasy 15 was barely around during the burst era. There's only a few. There's 3 OSBs, Aranea, Noctis, and Gladio. It's just, oh god, it's just packed. So it can only get better from here. As long as they keep it BSB+. The realms that, you know, don't have the BSBs. Oh yeah, and one of the BSBs is Ignis BSB. Alright, betting is stopped. Let's take a look, and then I'll do my polls. Not a lot of bets. I was expecting more. 2 on 2, 3 on 3, 1 on 4, 2 on 5, 1 on 6, 7, and 8. So 3. 3 on 3 is the highest. But very few bets. Oh, 3 of these. This is such a swingy pull. This could go. It is kind of similar to the elemental support tickets. Just, I guess there is 6 guarantees, which is cool. But it's still, because of the stuff that's in the pools, it's just going to be super swingy. So let's watch this roller coaster. I take Warrior Light Relics. What we got? 5 discos, so possible wokes, and 4. 9 total. Should I slow roll it? It hasn't started yet, so this could all be dupes and shit. I feel good about being a veteran of the game and being able to look at this and say, I don't have hopes for this. Okay, there we go. I do know that there's a skip button. Thank you. I purposely don't use it because I dislike it. I just got that recently. That's a dupe. So, 2 dupes so far. That's not a dupe. I don't know what that is. It's Queen of something. Also not a dupe. Papalimo USB is a dupe. I think that's Echo something. I hope I don't have it already, but I might. It's a spear I probably don't have. I hope that's Creel something. And that's something I don't have. So a lot of not dupes. 8 Awakening. I like that. I like that a lot. Oh, it's Quistis Arcane. Leon USB 2. That was a dupe Echo. Oh, 8 Awakening is cool. I like that. I like that. Start battle with Fire LMR for Squall isn't bad. And Kuina's LMR. I actually really like that. It's kind of funny that out of this pool, 2 of the 5 stars were two of my better. 8 Awakening and the 2 LMRs here are actually pretty decent. So that was... I honestly, my expectations are definitely set lower than what I got, so I'm happy with this. Yeah, my ice is pretty good. Quistis... Well, that's not an awakening, that's an arcane. It's awful. Like... Okay, well, that's 1. Next. A lot of clicking. Have I had a lot of discos? I know the last pull was definitely above average, but I feel like 4 is probably average, considering you get 2 guaranteed, and then 38 more chances. I think 3 or 4 was probably average. Don't have it. Looks... What? Edgar? I think I've got that. Is that Gilgamesh USB 1? That's Luna Freya. That's a Beyond character. And... who knows? Setzer, not Edgar? That sucks. Ultimisia woke. Alright, Luna Freya's Ultra. Not bad. And it was Gilgamesh's USB 1. And what is this? Whoa! Again! Good LMR! Good LMR. Save. Yeah. So, Ultimisia woke. What is... Whoa! DNA, what is going on? I may be resetting my client after this. It's never happened to me before. Yeah, I'm sure it's Nox. At least I... Oh, yeah, at least I got the screenshot. Time compression. Well, Ultimisia is actually a good woke for me to get. I think Ultimisia is a good character, and My Magical Wind has been pretty trash since until recently. I do have Fusions woke and Ultimecia woke now. I don't know about Fusion's future, but I really like Ultimecia. Definitely much more hype about that than Fusion. So yeah, I'll take that. So 2 wokes. Oh, well, either G plus or sync. Yeah, I just view Ultimecia as a win mage. Mostly. Man, I want more 5 stars. Keep giving me good LMRs. Seriously, Orlando's sword LMR is a good hit. Dupe. Good LMR, I think. I think that's his dual cast. It's Kane something. That is a beautiful icon. Oh no, am I getting more Squall shit? Oh god, I got something for Yuna. Please be good. Please be good. Please don't be our Arcane. Yeah, Yuna Awakening. Yes! So I got Squall's Fire Arcane. Good. That's alright. Whatever. And the LMR was a good LMR. It's just a dupe. Game really wanted to feed me good LMRs. Yeah, I know a lot of Kane's lances look like that, so I was like, I only have one of Kane's lances. And that's the one. That's okay. Overall, this is pretty good. What is this? No. You know, actually, maybe. Insane? Come on. It's, well, it's on 7. Yeah, this is just a regular Glint Plus. There's nothing insane about this. It is beautiful, though. Well, the thing is, 7 may actually have a spot on my Type 0 team. But this isn't really going to help. Alright, well, it's doing it again. I guess there's just too many relics on the screen for it to handle. I don't, yeah. Yeah, this is good, yeah. Just don't want to... I think Yuna was the best hit that I got, right? I think so. Big, big victory. Oh, more about Type 0. I probably just going to be running Rem and winning with Rem. There aren't that many people in the realm that improve Rem's damage output, and 7 is one of the few. because 7 has a debuff attached to her USB. So I was going to bring 7, Rem, Deuce. I guess 8. 8 is pretty good. 8 does the last stand thing. I'm not really that concerned about his damage output, but if he can provide last stand to the party, that is some more supportive Rem. That's all that matters. It's just support Rem. Oh god. Oh, this is great. This just keeps getting better and better. I gotta get a screenshot of this. Now, my sound isn't turned that high. Is the sound bugging out, too? Alright, well, I got my screenshot. We can get out of here now. Oh, no, the emulator itself is just completely screwed. That's how you know it's bad. The emulator is completely closed. But it's still playing the sound. Okay. Yep, still using old Nox. Yeah, let's see what some of this stuff does. It's been a very long time since I've taken a look at 8's Awakening, and I don't think I've ever taken a close look at Ultimisia's Awakening. And I would love to take a closer look at Yuna's Awakening. I'm gonna pay out the 3s for the bet. Martin, Strider, and Will. Strider, the only big oneer. Will and Martin didn't want to up for the full 100. I use Nox. Gonna find out once this emulator boots back up. I got worries. It depends on what you need right now, what kind of content you need to clear. But we are getting into... It's still 2 months away. So if you do have stuff that you need to clear and you feel like tickets are a good thing to get you there, there's no issue with spending tickets right now. But I don't have anything that I can spend tickets on at the moment that'll do anything for me, so I'm absolutely saving my tickets. Alright, let's take a look. 15 attacks, and looks like a Kiraga Medica, and Regenga. That's already a pretty good entry. It gives her damage cap break. And gives her a Madoka on summon. Which means she's gonna be an effective healer. While also dealing damage. I really like this. I find it less... By itself, it's certainly less useful for something like 6-star Magicite. Oh yeah, her USB 4 with Wave 4 is definitely a pick. It was even without this, but now it's a bigger deal, yeah. But yeah, without Unholy, that's fine. Yeah, you want, in order to break cap? Probably. Unless I use it early. The first 2 phases are usually not that bad. What do I have for Yuna? I have not looked at Yuna in a long time. This is her bad glint? Yeah, that's her bad glint. Dual cast summon becomes available with Wave 4 as well, I believe. Okay, well that's Yuna. I knew that was a big win. Let's check out the others. Spell strike mode, it's just wind and dark, right? Yep. Oh, it's just a typical glint. There's nothing special about it. Or, not typical glint. Typical woke. Every 3 turns OSB. But, we know, whatever. I like it because I think Ultimecia is good. And it gives me an actual reason to pick up her USB. Because her USB is something difficult to work in. I wanted to originally use her on my Magical Wind team against Titan because she's one of the few Wind Mages with an OSB. But I never wanted to use her because I would have had to lens her USB, which is ability double, and I don't really care for ability doubles on long fights if I don't have that person's awakening. Because ability doubles take up too many ability uses. Alright. 8, what's your deal? Well, I gotta look up on the side what Righteous Fist mode is. Critical chance equals 100%. Cast speed times 2. Cast Ice Cluster after using 3 monk abilities. Removed if the user doesn't have any physical blank. So it could be good or bad depending on the fight. Does anyone know anything about the tactic or the Type 0 Dreambreaker? How long can you make 3 physical blink stacks last? Because if you can't make them last for 15 seconds, it's okay. It's purely physical? Well, that sucks. So this isn't that great of an awakening. I think what's good about it is 8's USB. 8's USB is fantastic. You just kind of have to look them up. It's better to look them up. It gives 3 physical blinks. You can use other sources, but I don't think there's any point unless you could give him multiples from another source. Oh! I should have looked closer at Ice Cluster. Okay. That actually changes things. Paper just mentioned it in chat. So, Righteous Fist mode, which you get for 15 seconds, but it could fall off before that, is critical chance 100%, cast speed times 2, cast Ice Cluster after using 3 monk abilities. But Ice Cluster is the key here. Ice Cluster is 6 single attacks and grants physical blink 3. So you can maintain that as long as he attacks 3 times before the boss takes off 3 stacks of physical blink. And that's fine. That's a hell of a lot easier than making 3 stacks last for enough time. And 8's actually a pretty quick character, if I remember correctly. Well, it wouldn't actually matter. Just QC alone doesn't make him faster than the boss. How much good stuff? A fair amount. Uniwoke. Ultimisia Woke. Lunafreya USB. What do I have for Yuna? Not much. That's why it was such a big win. So nothing on this page. And a whole lot of nothing on this page except for this. So that is my only actual castable soul break on her. Yeah, I think Ultimisia Woke is something I'm very glad to have in my pocket. Thanks, Matt. Maybe. It depends. I may just be able to sub 30 the fight with just her woke. Well, a YouTube sub is the equivalent to a follower on Twitch. But still, it's always nice. Always nice to hear the Swolbet song. Inventory cleaning, I'll get to that after I completely digest what I just got. Because I completely forgot I got Luna Freya's USB. Which has value to me. Because I do have her awakening. Also, 8 awakening, Andrew. Queen of LMR. The one that allows Queen to start out with Last Stand. Which is pretty useful on someone that you want to trance as fast as possible. Situational, sure, but it's replacing nothing. Oh, have a good night, Sean, and thank you. Slightly more physical damage when a spear is equipped. That has just been replaced. I do still want this. But this is handy. You have an extremely good Aria, then. Right, Orlando's sword damage on Lamar. Also situational. He's got 3 good LMRs, or Legend Materials. Nice! Nice! COD woke. You've been, like, looking for that. And King woke is good, too. I remember we talked about that in Discord. How I'm looking for COD's chain, and you're looking for COD's woke. Alright, so the other part of the title, inventory cleanup. I feel like after doing a couple Dream Breakers, I understand that a lot of the stuff that I've kind of stockpiled as just-in-casers don't really have any use. Don't really have any use at all. So I have a fair amount of 6-star elemental weapons in my vault. And it's just time to figure out which ones are worth blowing up. And I'm willing to bet there's quite a few. So let's get rid of the stuff that I just got first, because it's the easiest to figure out. Oh, that's actually... So these... here's actually a perfect first place to start, is on a lot of your Dreambreaker teams, you're going to be running Tyro, and Tyro is going to be inflicted by Dreambreaker Stop often. And the higher mind that you can have on Tyro, the better, because you can completely nullify that stop. So it is actually useful. Have a good one, Zenkichi. Thank you. It is actually useful to have a realm synergy mind stick for your healer in the realm. Because you're probably going to be giving, in a lot of realms, you're probably going to be giving the mind artifact of the realm to Tyro, because he's the one who has to worry about the stop. So you're going to still want a good mind gear for your healer. And here's my Final Fantasy X mind stick. This is obviously sticking around. It's just a blank 6-star auto bust. Now, just to get 3 characters. I do not believe that there is any plus sword damage LMRs in Final Fantasy VIII. Making the value of swords in Final Fantasy VIII pretty damn low. I don't even think Squall gets plus damage for equipping swords. I think the only person that gets that is probably Cypher. I did get some good snacks. So that can get blown up. There's no way that will ever be used. I will always use realm artifacts over that. Earth Throne Weapon in Beyond. Well, Beyond doesn't have any realm fights. But Laguna doesn't matter, because he gets much more gun damage. So he's always going to be equipped with a gun. Since Beyond doesn't matter, this is an auto shatter. Because there's no way for any of this stuff to measure up with elemental artifacts. The only time that I'm interested in these now is if there's a possibility they could be used on a realm team. And yeah, I don't know. I suppose there's always the chance that there's a plus 25% damage LMR for somebody on an elemental team as well. But it's harder to pin those down because the team selection is so much bigger for elemental teams than it is for realms. Boost to wind damage, Rod, Final Fantasy VIII. I'm pretty sure this is of no use at all. Which one was this, by the way? Her BSB one. I've gotten that quite a few times. It's been in the game for like 4 years, so. A water whip. Yeah, I may have 2 Final Fantasy VIII sub-30s. One with a mage team, one with a physical team. Final Fantasy VIII has just always been the realm with way too much strong stuff. Is it useful for Rydia? I don't think it is. Because there is only one whip materia in the game, right? And that belongs to Rydia. So Rydia is always going to be the one that uses the artifact whip. Making any other whip you get useless. Now this is a magic instrument. I'm gonna hold on to this for the moment. Once I start clearing out the vault, I'll take a closer look at that. Well, there's certainly no one to contend with him for fist weapons in Type 0. So he would get a fist artifact there. Do I want to keep this? Because I don't want to make any more ice artifacts right now. So I think I may want to keep this around. Junk. If it doesn't have an element, it's auto junk. The only way that that wouldn't be true is if it was a mind stick that the healer could use. Obviously junk. Ice Fist is kind of limited, but who knows, I may want to run a speed run and not make an artifact for it. Junk. Well, it's armor. Armor, 6-star armor I almost always keep. And it's a bracer too. Well, unfortunately has a low mind stat, so... well, this is a bracer too. I'll keep it. Oh wow! I didn't even bother looking at this because it belonged to Setzer. I would have been better off not looking at it. It could still be a good stat stick. Do I not keep 6-star weapons for dupes? I don't understand what you mean. 4 dupes? Yeah, they're all worse than artifacts. So the only way that I will want to keep any of these weapons is if there was some reason that I would use it over an artifact. Yes, with synergy. Not elemental artifacts, realm artifacts. Oh, well, yeah, Andrew answered the question. A fully combined and augmented weapon still isn't better than an artifact. And that's only 6 stars. A fully augmented and combined sync weapon, which starts at 7-star and goes up to 9-star, is still not as powerful as a realm artifact. Which goes to show how bad 6-star relics are. Yeah. It's kind of the situation that I... And what kind of prompted this was the Onion Knight thing. Realizing that Onion Knight was an exception, and that I should look for those exceptions. And if I can't find those exceptions, then blow them up. You would have to spend a shit ton of artifacts, but that's okay. One of my favorite sayings in this game is, if you're not spending your resources to defeat the hardest content available, what are you spending it on? And if you're not spending it, you should look up the definition of hoarder. No, 5-star armors if they're not elemental. But elemental 5-star armors are actually still good. I still use a lot. I was actually kind of thinking about this the other day. Though you're not future-proofing. You don't future-proof by hurting yourself in the present. That doesn't work. I don't know if you were being, like, serious or not. Okay, sorry. I'm generally going to take stuff at face value. It's just a character flaw. Does anybody remember when I got this? Still gets use. These relics right here are all in heavy rotation still. This Queena hairpin is over 4 years old. I think I got this in either 2nd anniversary or the summer festival after 2nd anniversary. That's going a little bit far. There's a lot of stuff that does not have any use, but there is a lot of stuff that has use that you don't necessarily think that it would when you first get it. Yep, Sid Rain's BSB banner. I got a lot of... I did get a decent amount of Sid Rain's BSBs, Refia BSB, Sabin Super Soul Break, the Asuna one, Spin to Win, and that's Noel Super Soul Break. Gilgamesh OSB. Oh, man. I'm surprised I've remembered so much of that banner. I missed Golbez BSB and I missed Realm BSB. Realm BSB was my big win. Okay, so... No, I don't... I think I have no use for this. So that's gonna get blown up. I personally, but I'm a bad person to ask because I love the varying strengths of healers. You're wrong, Alexander. I'm sorry. He does not have the best healing. You're also wrong about that. But he has better status dealing capabilities than a lot of characters do. Which can make him better in some very specific situations, like my Diablos fights. Is Cypher Awakening good? It's okay. Cypher has a lot of good things to make him a decent character. He has access to a good Generation 2 Dark Chain. But, I mean, by itself, even by itself, it's probably not bad, because he's got a good USB too. But, if you want to talk about it just by itself, no. It's okay. It's just an awakening. There's a lot of awakenings in the game now. You have his chain, then yes, Cypher Awakening is very good. Alright, vault time. Unfortunately, I already got rid of all my Final Fantasy Tactics swords. So I wasn't able to shatter those for everybody. Alright, well, starting with Final Fantasy 1. Is there any reason that I would keep a Holy Sword around? Matoya Awakening is very good, yes. That is a very good pickup. I can't imagine. There's 3 sword users, none of them get any significant amounts of plus sword damage. There's no reason to keep this. I do believe Firion does get plus sword damage. But Firion's the only one, so he would use the sword. The Realm Artifact sword. So there's no reason to keep this. Yes, they do. I didn't know Emperor had sword access. Not that it matters. There is no reason to keep this. Marie and Emperor, the 2 mages. And Maria has access to bows. There's, I believe, both bows and... Oh, man. I should start just blowing stuff up. Because that's going to happen if I keep on clicking out. And I have to click those again. I don't have to look to see if there's a bow. into bow and a rod. So there's no reason to keep any of the stuff in Final Fantasy II. Yeah, luckily, I'm talking about myself, and if people can actually glean anything useful from it, then that's good. I'm not telling people what to do. It would take more than one video. There's too much of this game. What not to blow up? Well, Onion Knight Synchro weapon. Because there's no Final Fantasy III Realm Artifact fraud. And Onion Knight has a 25% BLK damage LMR, which is pretty good. Yeah, basically just Final Fantasy III Rod, Mind Sticks, an alternate Mind Stick if there isn't enough Mind sources in the realm. I'm just gonna blow up this for now. Alright, so I did talk about Final Fantasy III. I've already sub 30 the Dreambreaker, so even though this does have Mind on it, I totally forgot I had this. Would it have mattered? I don't think so. Yeah, that definitely doesn't matter because there's Mind buffs in Final Fantasy III. So Tyra was always gonna zero the stop. So gone. Alright. Gonna be a lot of loading screens while I do this. Final Fantasy IV, who gets weapon damage LMRs? LMRs are the only ones that matter. Because, no, let's go to somebody that actually has one of these. Oh, I could have clicked on Kane. Kane has plus spear damage. Okay, so this 3% doesn't mean anything. That's not enough to make up the difference in stats that you would gain by using a Realm Artifact. So if you had to, for some weird reason, on Kane you had to use a sword or a dagger, you would always want to use the Realm Artifact over a spear because he only gets plus 3% damage with spears from this. So you want to disregard these for the purpose of what weapon you're going to give him. This doesn't really apply to Kane that much, because not only does he have plus 3% damage with spears here, but he also has More spear damage here. But as Will noted, Rydia has a whip damage LMR. But since there are no other whip users in the realm, it doesn't matter. Because you will be making a realm artifact whip for Rydia, and there's no conflict. And there's absolutely a realm artifact for a whip for Rydia. Didn't get stiffed like Onion Knight did. I think Palom does have raw damage, but yeah, Palom does have raw damage. And I got that LMR at some point, I guess. Does that matter at all? Yeah, but neither Tella or Golbez have weapon damage LMRs, so it doesn't matter. So there's never going to be a conflict. If Palom is on the team, he gets your Rod artifact. And then someone else can use a magical dagger or something. Or Radio obviously would want to use a whip. Well, they're not possibilities for rods. That's the entire point of this whole talk is the artifact types, the equipment. So I'm just going to do that after every realm. Is figure, hey, which... Are there any artifact types that actually matter in this realm? No? Alright. Next. There is a... Here's something I actually want to check out. So I'm likely going to be using Cecil as a white mage on my Final Fantasy IV Dreambreaker team. I want to see what kind of mind weapons are available in 4. Bow. So this goes to Cecil. This is the only mind weapon that he can use in the realm. I don't think they have an artifact or instrument. Yeah, this is an attack instrument. That's a mind staff. So that can go to Tyro. If he needs it. Your healer otherwise. Yeah, it does feel like an odd choice, because there's no reason to ever use it. If Edward is doing damage, it's with Divine Dirge, and that does magical damage. Affects Knight physical damage? No. Affects Cecil's White Mage damage. Cecil can be a white mage, and he will be, as I said right before that, is that Cecil will be a white mage for me in the realm. Yeah, and that's nice, but I just... That's kind of the point of what I'm doing here, Victor, is seeing that is totally unnecessary. Because there are 2 mind-based artifacts in the realm, and one of them can be used by Cecil, the bow. So, and that will always be stronger than any relic you pull off of a banner. So if, okay, he gets a mind sword for Cecil in the next fest. It's just rainbow crystals because we know that there's a realm artifact that's better than it. Bad. It's very bad. And looking at this is what made me go look at that. I wanted to know, like... if it was worth keeping this around, because it does have a fairly decent mind stat on it, but it's not. Yeah! There's that, but... Past, Cecil and Rem, they don't need to have Holy on them. So it's kind of the situation. I've already kind of gone over that. And that you do want to keep pure mind weapons in realms. No, I'm pretty sure Edward, Cecil, and Rem is gonna beat the living crap out of that realm. So the nice thing about Dreambreakers is, well, not nice thing. Is that the main gimmick is the 70% full break debuff that the boss puts on your team. And the reason why I would be using Cecil as a white mage there is because white mages use mind as their stat, and that is not part of full break. So they do not get affected by the full break debuff. So instead of bringing Tyro to get rid of the full break debuff as your one off-realm character, you go on the lookout for is there a white mage in the game who has such extreme power that they can go cross-realm and still deal significant amounts of damage. There's 2 things that enable this. One is, there is one white mage that does such a thing. And the other is, does the realm have a Generation 2 or greater Holy Chain? Because you're going to want the extra damage output that those chains provide. Over something like a Generation 1. So the combinations here are... well, the character I'm talking about is Rem. Rem is the white mage to end all white mages. Actually, one of the best damage characters in the entire game, regardless of what it is they actually do. And then you're looking for realms that have native holy chains. It doesn't need to be a mage holy chain. It does work in Final Fantasy Tactics with, say, Ramza's holy chain. Because Rem can provide her own mind buffs if she needs to. But it does work particularly well in realms like Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy 13. I'm just saying tactics because it can work. She does need to lift a little heavier than usual. At least you have a decent Imperiler in the realm, if that ever comes into play. But anyway, moving on. Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 4, and Final Fantasy 10 would be the big ones at the moment, because of Yuna, Edward, and Hope chains. I think Final Fantasy IV is likely the easiest, because there is at least one powerful offensive white mage in the realm. So not only are you bringing Rem to solo DPS, but for something like Final Fantasy 13, but she's got help in Final Fantasy 4. Not only can Cecil do it, but I'm pretty sure Seodor can do it too. I believe Fusoya is... I have no idea what's up with Fusoya, honestly. Nothing at the moment. He gets the stuff that he gets in the future, right? Well, Rydia's a magic mage. And the entire point of the strategy is not to get rid of the full break. Now, Rydia is strong. She's probably strong enough to work through and still deal a fair amount of damage, even full braked. Is Fusoya's woke out? That's kind of what I'm asking right now. I don't know how good Fusoya is right now. But I know with just like BSB or USB, BSB is okay. It is all right. Fusoya works fine then. They just need to deal mind-based damage. Mind-based holy damage, which there is no other kinds. Okay. So it's just his BSB that doesn't work, which is fine. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent, but thank Ricky for doing that experiment. It was something I wanted to try when it... I was going to try it on Final Fantasy IV. I didn't know the viability of it in Final Fantasy 13. Plus, I had a good Final Fantasy 13 team. But Final Fantasy IV just seems super ripe for the Rem Holy Strat. Alright, 5. I do know that 5 does have some sword-based stuff. Bart's is the big one. Plus 25% spell blade damage when a sword is equipped. This is often going to be his best LMR rather than his triple cast LMR. So you've got a dedicated sword user in Bart's. Now we're looking for a sword user elsewhere. It's not Kelger. Does have plus sword damage in his dive, but as I said, 3% is not worth bringing a sword 6-star over like an artifact dagger. But Zazat is probably the big one that conflicts. But Zazat is usually used on the old man teams. It doesn't have as much conflict as you'd think. Using Zazat and Bart's together, yeah, it works. Zazat's Awakening is fine in Dreambreaker. Even if you're not using full old man. Dorgon, do you have any sword shit? No. So it's just Bartons is at. I don't know. I don't know if that's enough reason to keep a sword around. It probably is if you have Zazat's Awakening already. But if you don't have Zazat's Awakening, there's just not a terribly big chance that you're going to be using him on the team. Other than that, I don't think that there's any significant damage boosts here, weapon-based. Ferris actually gets a ton of bow damage. Like, not a whole lot more than the 3%. Yeah, this is a 12%er. That is a bigger deal. But there's no one to conflict with her. So if you're going to get a bow, then she's going to use it. So it doesn't matter. That's it for Final Fantasy V. There is a sword conflict between Bartz and Zazat, so it may be a good idea to keep some Final Fantasy V swords around. That's alright, Goga does have road damage. There's another way you can look at it, is that Bartz doesn't necessarily need to use his 25% Spellblade damage LMR. He could just use his triple cast LMR instead. And if you're using his triple cast LMR instead, then he's not tied to swords at all. I don't think he has any sword damage in his dive. There's just nothing. So, in that case, you would just put the sword artifact on Zazat. So, there's probably no reason to keep swords in Final Fantasy V. Unless you're, like, desperate for that 25% damage to break cap or something on Bartz. Final Fantasy VI. So I think this is a better format, because you're finding out what flaws could possibly exist, rather than me just blowing up my shit. Terra doesn't get any rod damage. I don't think Locke gets anything either. That's machine stability damage. Yeah. I honestly want to, but getting Mog's Awakening, Celeste is sidelined. It's all samurai. Leo has sword damage, right? Yeah. But again, where's the conflict? And if there's no conflict, then you make a Final Fantasy VI sword and you give it to him. And no one else minds, and no one else is losing out. There you go. Just for fun. No, Locke doesn't care about swords at all. Nothing here. He doesn't even want daggers. He is tied to no weapon at all. In no way. And remember, if they have a couple % inside their dive, it doesn't matter. You're still going to want the stats from the artifact weapon over that. That's true. That's true. Locke is definitely more tied to a thrown weapon. That is a significant damage difference. But there's nobody else in the realm that uses thrown weapons. So no conflict. Umaro does. There's your conflict. Keep your fire ranged for Locke so you can put the artifact on Umaro. So this is all junk. I can't do it. I will not bring myself. I will not shatter my enhanced bioblasters. That's just not happening. They are eternal. Okay, Final Fantasy VII has been mentioned in chat, does have some conflict. Sword has... Cloud has plus sword damage. That conflicts with nobody. So he's safe. Yeah. Zack is full celerity. Here's the big one. Is Vincent wants to use Sharpshooter. Genesis. Where is he? Is he not? Oh god, I didn't scroll down. That's an LM1? Okay, good call. You're right. That is a conflict. And Genesis is actually a good character, so... what's this? Oh, no, that's not an LM1. That's just an unlensable LMR. So it's a 25%er. That's, that is actually a big conflict. Yeah, plus 6% is too small. I would use... Again, I'll give you the example that if you have a choice between using a sword, a combined 6++ star sword over a dagger artifact, I'd take the dagger artifact. Because the stats, the extra stats that the artifact is going to provide, is going to be so much more than 6% extra damage. It's just, there's a gigantic stat difference, and that's over soft cap. Stats still provide value over soft cap. Yeah, I guess I skipped over Angeal too. No. This sword I've learned is just does physical damage. It's not a sword. Yeah. But while 6% may not be significant, 25% is a whole different ballgame. So that is a conflict between Genesis and Cloud. So in that case, do you just save all your Final Fantasy VII swords? I don't know. I'm not sure Genesis is ever gonna... He could. Like, ROP is a thing. Awakening Luckies are a thing. I kind of wonder if I... Like, say... On ROP, I pull Genesis Awakening. But you could put the Wind Sword on Cloud. So Genesis could use the artifact. Well, that's what I was just about to bring up, Strider. In my specific situation, if I got Genesis Awakening, I think I just don't use Cloud. I think at that point I just switch to a fire team. Vincent, Barrett, and Genesis. Yep. Or Sephiroth if I had as fire stuff. But I'm talking about me. It would be sweet. I want a reason to use Barrett. I do. Unfortunately, I can't make the case quite yet, but it would be awesome. So I'm not sure I keep swords around. You know, especially I don't... I just looked at it. This is a non-lensable LMR. It would have had the little animal lens symbol next to it. So I'd have to get both as Awakening and as LMR. So in my case, it's such a distant possibility that I'm just going to blow up everything. Sword-based. Moving on from swords. Well, is there a gun arm artifact? No, it's not even on here. Yeah, does he have any good gun arms? Well, I'm assuming since Blitzball is on here, so there is a special type, that if there was an actual gun arm on here, it would have been listed. It's not. He wears it on his head. Yep. Tyro is the one talented individual. No. No, it's pretty easy. Oh, you mean like actual put it in the game? There's a few artifacts here that are made for single characters. There's an artifact here that's made for nobody at all. Yeah, BSB era Edward. It's a few years back. All right, so anyway, back to Final Fantasy VII. Barret does have a 25% increased damage when a gun arm is equipped. Does he have any good gun arms? I know his awakening was on a piece of armor. What was his USB on? Woke 2. Is that in the game? There's no dagger. Okay. Well, that is absolutely a conflict. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Who would even supply the dagger? Biggest dagger user in the realm is Red 13, but all of his relics are hairpins. It doesn't do plus fire damage. So his USB doesn't count. So yeah, let's take a look at the coming Final Fantasy VII event. Wait a second. Barret. Wook 2 is a plus fire damage gun arm. Two Vincent guns. One is magical though. So what does that mean? How much attack does this have? 126. You know what that means is Barret, I believe, is usable in the realm with his Awakening 1, and if you only have his Awakening 1, that means you do not have a fire gun for him. So, are there any guns that belong to Vincent that are physical? And there's the kicker. This is pretty hybrid. The problem with hybrid is, I believe they're all magical, is the augment slots. They, augment stats also get added, get affected by realm synergy. I think they get a 50% bonus. So if you get 30 augments, it gives 45 of the stat instead of 30. That's only 15. It's not that big of a deal. But I actually have a perfect weapon right now. Well, absolutely. We got 40 pulls tonight. There's No reason not to do free pulls. I have a fully augmented and combined Vincent Awakening. Oh, did it shut it off? Yeah, it did. Which gives a lot more attack than I thought it was going to. No, absolutely not. Yeah, if there's a possibility that you could use Barrett and Vincent, I would have to say that it's worth keeping around a gun. Just because the stars seem to align. Barrett can't use anything else other than a gun. Unless you miraculously pull his Awakening 2 from the coming Final Fantasy VII banner. It's already fully augmented. But the augments are magical anyway, so it doesn't do anything. And Vincent is a sharpshooter. And that's the key for him, is he wants to use a ranged weapon. And he can only use guns and daggers anyway, right? So he's locked as well. Because there's no daggers. Yeah, for physical weapons, all he's got is daggers and guns. Is there a physical rod? For, like, Reno? I think the possibility to use Rufus and Vincent on the same team is reduced. There's an anti-synergy there. Also, Rufus doesn't necessarily need to use guns. Because there's a lot of good darkness abilities. There isn't even a physical rod. It was worth looking. Alright, so I am going to keep my Vincent Awakening, just because. Probably won't end up using it, but hey, who knows. But I think everything else can just get chopped. Because the likelihood that I use Genesis and Cloud on the same team is extremely low. And I would also need to pull Genesis's plus sword damage at Lamar as well. So even lower. Getting clean. Squeaky clean. Other than the poison. The poison can stay. Oh god, I have a lot of... Oh my god, I have so many Final Fantasy VIII relics. Ugh. Well, I can't stop pulling on their damn banners. It's not my fault. Alright, what do we got? I know Squall doesn't give a shit. Squall's kind of like Bart's. He's full Spellblade for the most part. There's nothing in your dive, is there? Nope. Renault don't care. Quistis don't care. Zell? I don't think Zell cares. That is a fist. But nobody else in the realm uses fist weapons. Oh, Raijin. Raijin don't care about fists. That's all the monk symbol. Can Kyrus use fist weapons? Not that it would matter. Yes, he can. But again, if you... with Zell being the only person that gains any benefit from using fist weapons, he would use the artifact. Selfie Irvin. Irvin is another kind of Vincent type. More physical damage when the gun is equipped. Sharpshooter. Can only use guns and daggers. But I don't think there's anybody else that really cares about guns. Laguna... And it does. I don't think it makes any sense to use Laguna as a sharpshooter, because all of his shit is machinist. This being the big one is LM2, dual cast machinist. So while you'd rather not lose... Yeah, while you would... Okay, that's actually 12% gun damage. That's different. So you do want to be using a gun with Laguna. But luckily Irvin blows, so... If you're just using Irvin as your realm chain, gives a shit what weapon he's using anyway. Why even make an artifact for him? Does he somehow get good in the Dreambreaker event itself? Irvin Awakening. There we go. But the thing, I don't know. You can keep around a gun. He can imperil ice, but that has nothing to do with the weapon he has equipped. So you don't... That's the topic. Does the weapon matter? Yeah, Irvin's Awakening is on a gun. There you go. So it doesn't matter. Next. Cypher, I don't think... No sword there. Didn't even have any sword there. Laguna already checked, he's got 12% gun damage, so Laguna would rather be using a gun. You're all monk. Fusion should have throne damage. Fusion is such a quintessential throne character. I love how versatile Kyros is. Right now, my Final Fantasy VIII Dreambreaker team is Kyros, Laguna, and Squall, for sure. That's actually kind of funny. That he gets hat damage. I love that. Because of his bandana. Yeah, I can get behind that. I think she should have been hybrid too. Alright, it doesn't look like there's anything here beyond the gun thing between Laguna and Irvin. Which is a weird thing because Irvin stinks. Is Kira's good enough for Awakening only? It's his USB that makes me want to use him. His USB is the strength of his kit. I'm sure his Awakening is good enough. If I just had his Awakening, I would love... I think I'd probably use Renoa over him if he only had his Awakening. But Kyros with USB is probably a better character on my team than Renoa with Sync. That's how good Kyros' USB is. So there's really not much conflict going on here. Blow it all up. There's no way I use Irvin. At least Genesis is good. That's why I decided to include this as part of the stream. It just kind of clicked during the Final Fantasy III Dreambreaker. It was like, none of this shit is ever going to get used. So why not turn it into Rainbow Crystals where it can be used? Oh, that's nice and juicy. 30 augments on this. $17 Final Fantasy VIII relics in my vault. I have some in my inventory too. Well, I was getting low on rainbow crystals. Next. I started the stream at like 160. And it takes 60 per artifact. Alright, next. Final Fantasy IX. I know Zidane is pure thief. Well, not pure. He's tainted. He wants swords. I think a lot of people forget. Or not forget, but... Oh, 146? Alright, even less than I thought. I think a lot of people are under the impression that Zidane wants daggers, but... He does have 3% swords. Garnet don't give a shit. Vivi does give a shit. That is a very good Legend Materia. 25% BLK damage with a rod equipped. Wait for Zidane's hero ability. Comes out with the festival since his sync is there. Steiner gets spellblade damage with swords equipped. Actually, 2. Right. You got significantly more damage, spellblade abilities with swords equipped, and his LM1 is even his physical damage with sword equipped. So that's 1 sword user and 1 rod user. 2 spear users. There's a conflict with Freya and Quina. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It feels like Kuja gets so much more than this. I think they just keep on bringing Kuja's Awakening back. It's been on, like, every banner. It's like debuts once a week. Yeah, well, that's the joke mix. And this is all thief damage. So there's no conflicts in Final Fantasy IX. Vivi's got the rod, Steiner's got the sword. That's it. Maybe. Let me check something out. What kind of artifacts are available for magic in Final Fantasy IX? So that's what I was afraid of. There's no staff. I would think there would be. Vivi's USB 1 is pretty iconic for what it did to a tier of content in this game. So you got a magic rod, mind rod, mind instrument. Okay, so Final Fantasy IX is actually more interesting than I thought. There's only 1 magical artifact. And there's 3 magical mages. It's a rod, so that's good. Vivi doesn't get Onion Knighted. But if you're using Vivi and Kuja together, Kuja is going to have to use something else. Oh, well, actually, I missed Garnet, so there is 4. I was talking about Eiko, Vivi, and Kuja. So yeah, there's 4. And only 1 artifact. It's kind of interesting. it may be worth keeping this around. Both of them. I think I got 2. Yeah. And this is the Vincent situation. I'm keeping this. No, it's got fire damage on it, and Vivi wants rods. Well, no, I don't have his rod LMR, so it doesn't do anything for me yet. So this could be useful. So I'll keep that. Why did I ever make that? What a waste. And I guess I keep this too, just in case. Final Fantasy IX is probably going to come down to other stuff. And I'm not going to have to worry about this, because I don't have a good Kuja or a good Vivi, so... But it's still worth keeping them. Just in case. I have Freya's Awakening and Queena's Awakening. It's pretty strongly geared towards physical. So I probably may never have to worry about this, but it's good to notice that there's kind of a problem there. But these swords and shit can go. Alright, Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X seems like it'll be a fun one. Because it's got the sharpshooters thing. There being abilities that have increased multiplier based on weapons make the realm so much more likely to have conflict. So, in that case... Let's see what kind of artifacts are available for 10. That's it. It's just a blitz ball. For thrown weapons. Or ranged weapons. Yeah, no gun for Yuna. Which makes sense. Even when she uses guns, she's not a physical character. I don't think Riku uses daggers. Well, she can use daggers. But she's a sharpshooter and she doesn't have any weapon increasing stuff. So she's not locked to any weapon. Other than the fact that she's a potential sharpshooter. So, actually, she's more blitzball than she is daggers. She's usually on Thief, but she could Sharpshooter. But what I'm saying is there's nothing that makes her want to use daggers. So, but there is something that could potentially make her want to use a ranged weapon. Even if it's a fringe possibility. So there's no dagger damage here. God, I remember Riku's Legend Materia. Just all over the place. I'm excited for the Dreambreaker. It's most likely I will not even be using Cloud for it. So I'm not. And I have been playing for Final Fantasy Record Keeper for a while. Titus is locked into Sharpshooter, so he is locked into using a ranged weapon, or actually just using a Blitzball. Because there is no thrown weapon, or anything else other than a Blitzball that he can use in the realm. Waka is also locked to Sharpshooter for his stuff. So, it's pretty clear. Keep Blitzballs. Because a Blitzball with synergy will be better than the elemental weapons. Dark and Fire. But yeah, if Jekta's gonna be fire, he can use whatever he wants. If he's dark, he can use Sharpshooter or Darkness. I don't think that there's anything really holding him to using Sharpshooter, so he doesn't necessarily need a Blitzball for what he does. So Jek doesn't matter as much, but anyway, there is a conflict here, obviously. So keeping Final Fantasy X ranged weapons, Blitzballs, is a good idea. Even Pain, I think. I don't think there's anything that locks her into using swords. So even Pain is a Sharpshooter. Oh, well, yeah, actually, never mind. She's kind of locked into Spellblade. I don't. What was I thinking? So that doesn't matter. So that's it for Final Fantasy X Blitzballs. Water Blitzballs. Or if you got Dark Blitzballs, that works too. Because I'm pretty sure the Dark Sharpshooter would be nice, and using a Dark Sharpshooter on Jekt would allow you to use the artifact on somebody else. Oh, they look like a rod. Yeah, Kimari has no conflict for his spears. Oron has no conflict for his katanas. Seymour, no conflict. No. I can take a look. Let's see. Ability. What is the sharpshooter ability called? Taboo Raid has a 5.6 multiplier. But let's not look at that one because that one does have its drawbacks. Demon's Cross is 5.35. Midnight Bullet. Midnight Bullet has a 5.25 when using a ranged weapon. So Demon's Cross is better anyway. So okay. Dark Blitzballs don't matter. Because there's nothing that makes Jack actually want to use a Blitzball. Right? Oh, Fire Sharpshooter. So you have a Fire Blitzball. I do, but it's not included among these. You made me worry that it was. It's in my inventory. I'm on the Vault tab right now. Yes, I do want to save it. Final Fantasy XI. I don't think there's any Final Fantasy XI stuff to go over. But I'll go over the realm anyway for conflicts. Just for people that don't have the relics that I have. I don't think Shantoto gives a shit. Does not. Ayame don't care. Karilla, I don't think cares. Prish wants fist weapons with her LM1. I don't think that's a conflict. Naha. Naja. I keep wanting to use the Mexican J. But I've been corrected and I still can't get it. Lion actually wants daggers. But again, that's a really difficult one to conflict. No, he's pure dark. What does Lilithset do? Well, whatever Lilithset does, Celerity Dancer, and none of it's weapon-based. I'll check it out. Yeah, nothing here is particularly weapon-based. Prish and Lion want to use fist weapons and daggers, but there's no conflict. So, Final Fantasy XI stuff, none of it seems useful at all. Do I have any? I do not. Next. "12" is kind of a messy realm. I don't think Von actually does with his LM1 wants to use daggers. And considering the general quality of Von's legend materia, I think his LM1 is one of his best legend materia. I mean, this is some garbage. Debuff duration increase. Chance to quick cast 1 after using Thief ability. Chance to Ether after using Thief ability. These are your two right here. Is dagger damage and dual cast. Thief. This one is potentially good. If there's a way for you to debuff the opposing team. And, you know, I suppose there is. Pinello is actually really good at it. Debuffing 4 stats, I believe, gives this a 15% damage boost. Let me see. LM Von. 20%. It's actually not bad at all. So he may not be locked into daggers if Pinello is using Passionate Salsa. Because a 20% damage boost is a pretty good legend materia. Balthier is pure machinist. Fran is definitely bow based. Okay, well, there's that. Here's the one. Moderate chance to interrupt the enemy when a support ability triggers while a bow is equipped. Huge on the bows here. God, I've dodged this legend materia, thank goodness. Got a ton of those Thief LMRs, though. The Gil one. Fran is definitely bow-based, though. No, she can use guns, can't she? She can. So she does not necessarily locked to bows. Because she's a sharp... Oh, no, she's a machinist, too. I don't know how you would get an easy mind buff other than mind breakdown. Yeah, I do think she wants bows more. She has definitely more than a 33%, right? Yeah, she's got a 12%. She's totally bows. And that's already with this as her Legend Materia 1. But there's no conflict. Fran is by herself. Bosch doesn't care there, and yeah, he doesn't care at all about weaponry. Bosch has a nice selection of weaponry, doesn't he? Yeah, pretty decent. He might have gotten one when I wasn't looking. Nope, it's all Spellblade. You can see the swords with the little sparklies. Spellblade. Pinella don't care. Cabranth. It's all dark. What's nice about Final Fantasy XII characters is a lot of them have a good ability select or equipment selection, just because of the way Final Fantasy XII worked. Yeah, even friggin' Rex can use 4 different weapons. The only thing I'm worried about here is because of the lack of mages, we may have another Final Fantasy IX situation. With lack of artifacts. If you're using Vayne magical and Ash magical. Oh man, that was a... Immortalized. Alright, there is one magical sword for Ash. Vayne is a fist weapon. Mind Rod. I didn't. I can go further. I think there may only be one magical artifact here. Yeah. And Vayne and Ash are pretty good characters. So that is a reason to keep something around. For them to. Luckily, Ash has a lot of good lightning swords. Yeah, Vayne's OSB used to be an MVP back in the day. So now I will keep around Vayne's Dark Sword and Ash's Lightning Awakening. And none of this other crap matters. Final Fantasy 13 is over with for me. Lightning doesn't have any bearing outside of her record spheres, which is only 3% each. Yeah, 3% swords, 3% guns. So whatever, it doesn't matter. Nothing for snow. Says Fang has spear damage. Which I know very well because I use this, and it's frigging awesome on her. I think Sarah has 3% damage with bows. Yeah. It's bow black magic. I don't think Reigns cares. Reigns don't care about a lot of stuff. No, Noel is confused. Noel is really confused. He's a sharpshooter. But he gets a plus 25% damage with swords. Legend materia. And as far as weapon selection is concerned, I suppose that he's a dragoon too, right? Yeah. But there's no ice dragoon, so it's only for water dragoon. Yeah, so swords for water dragoon, no. I think you can probably just forget about that conflict. So there's nothing going on in 13. I know Sarah gets a bow because I bought it. So that's a magical artifact. I'm pretty sure Hope gets a thrown weapon, so that's an artifact. But they're the only characters that can use those. So is there any artifact that Sid Reigns can use? There has to be. Like, Sid Reigns' BSB is one of the most legendary relics. And they used his OSB. Or his USB, I forget which one of these it is. But anyway, Sid Reigns has his own relic too. That's it, right? That was it for mages? Nabat. Let me guess, Nabat's whip is on there too. Some realms get all the love. Of course it is. So yeah, there's no need to worry about any artifacts in Final Fantasy 13. Any in my vault, so I don't have to worry anyway. I am going to go into my inventory after this, and we'll get some stragglers. $14. Shtola obviously doesn't care. Thancred daggers. Nobody else daggers. Ida is fists, I believe. No, just monk. Papalymo. No. He's got rods in his legend dive. Yeah. But that's only 3%. No. Well, she will because of her limited equipment selection. But that's it. But I don't think that actually comes into... That might come into play. I'll take a look at the artifact selection for mages after I'm done looking at their buffs. I know Isail and Alphino are the only ones that could extend beyond rods and staves. Isail can use bows. Sid cares about guns, but nobody else in this realm can use guns. I don't think Alphino has any books at all. You know, for the premier person who's added books to the game, it would be interesting if he did, but I honestly think one of Alphino's best traits is the fact that he has 1,000,000% summoning damage. That's why I used him so long with just his Super Soul Break. No, it doesn't look like Estinian gives a shit about spears. It's just Dragoon damage. Okay. What magical artifacts are available in Final Fantasy XIV? Actually, a big deal. I'm guessing Rod and Book, and hoping for more. Yeah. So, Lilith Rod for Papalymo. Book for Alphino. But, that's Mind. So there's two relics, Final Fantasy for 14. So, and it is extremely likely that you run 3 mages in that ring breaker. I got a book. Okay, that's nice. If I do end up running a sale, I've got a nice relic for her. I forgot about this. This also is augmented even if it's only a 6-star. So I'm keeping all of my mage relics in Final Fantasy XIV. Just because there's 2 artifacts and there's 1,000,000 mages. So, Final Fantasy XIV, first realm that I don't blow anything up. Keep it all. Moving on to 15. Noctis swords. So this is a conflict. Noctis definitely wants swords. It's that 25% damage LMR is always going to be the big one. Gladiolus does want swords, but he doesn't necessarily need it. It's only his LM1, so it's only 10% damage, 10 or 15. And he does have his LM2 that can replace it by increasing the user's attack. proportional to the amount of hits he's taken. Up to 50% increased attack. So Gladiolus is not locked to swords. I like using this on like speed runs that, you know, only take, like the Torment, it only takes 10 seconds. Because this never gets a chance to stack up. But on a long fight like Rama and Dreambreaker, Odin, this is going to be an effective materia. So he doesn't really care that much about swords. Ignis, I don't think gives a shit. No. Propto's all gun. No, he's just machinist. Here's Aranea's just Dragoon. No spears or anything. And Korra's all samurai. No one's gonna conflict with him for a katana. Maybe. Let's take a look at the artifacts available. I mean, probably not. Is there a dagger? I think there's a dagger. Ignis would contribute a dagger, right? Hey. Up until that point, you had actually been acting sane. And well composed. Why'd you just have to crash on me? So if Noctis is locked into swords, that leaves daggers and katanas for Gladiolus and daggers and katanas for Core. So if there's not a dagger, then that could potentially be a problem. But there's a dagger. So never mind. Not a problem. There's no katana. Alright, you're going to use Core. I guess, no, that doesn't matter. No katana. So, yeah, if you're using Gladio, Core, and Noctis, the sword's taken by Noctis, and then there's only one artifact between Gladio and Core. I think eventually, probably Ricky. Oh, is there an axe? I don't think so. I don't think I've ever seen an axe. Thank you for reminding me to at least take a look. No. Well, no. Nope. No. Okay. There is not an axe. Right. Right, if you're going to use Core or Gladio, you've got elemental weapons for them. So just make sure not to blow them up. There is all of Gladio's stuff has elements on it. His OSB is actually fire and earth. Kind of cool. Oh yeah, that's right. So I do have a good weapon in case that situation ends up happening for me, but it will not. Because I have Noctis, Gladio, Aranea, and Prompto's Awakenings at the moment. So Core's not really in the cards for me, but it's important to know that exists. So you can prepare for the eventuality. I'll take care of that when I look at my regular inventory. So what do I got in here? Gladio Arcane. I'll keep them. There's no reason for me to blow up stuff that may have, you know, potential use. See, Gladio Arcane, earth damage. Gladio Awakening, earth damage. Aranea, oh yeah, Artifact Spear. Well, not that she actually conflicts with anybody. I suppose she would. But she's got to have an artifact. She was one of the earlier additions to the realm. I don't even think this is Aranea's spear. I think that's Noctis's, isn't it? That's Ignis's BSB? Oh. Well, okay then. But anyway, Spear exists. So, because there exists a spear, there will never be any conflict with Aranea. There will never, ever, ever be a conflict with Lunafreya. Is that... Yeah, it's not even mined. If it was a mined rod, I'd keep it. Ranged fire. Is there a possibility I use Ignis as a sharpshooter? I don't think so. He's pretty fifi. Yeah, that's what I was going to check. Nope. Let's see. AASB Ignis. So Woken Fire. There's nothing fifi about this. I have Ignis's USB, which is really good. And there's nothing thiefy about that. I do believe his sync is thiefy. No, it's not. Yes, it does. Command 1 is linked to Thief. Oh, that's actually interesting. That his Command 1 is linked to Thief. And with his Awakening being fire. Oh, no, no. It's in reverse. It doesn't really work. Because the Awakening being fire would delink it. Delink the stuff anymore. Sharpshooter is a possibility. It's kind of low. The chance that I even use Leakness. But God, his USB is really useful. And I feel like if I get Gladio's Synchro, all I'm gonna want to do is buff Gladio. So bringing Ignis to increase Gladio's speed is exactly what I would want to do. Rather than bring somebody else with an Awakening instead. So I actually think there may be a possibility I use Ignis as a sharpshooter. So I'm going to keep that. Who knows? Oh, alright, what's next? Tic Tacs. I've already done the Great Shattering for Tic Tacs. But there's probably still more to come. Ramza don't care. Agrius don't care. Delita... Delita cares, but nobody cares about Delita. No, I don't even think Delita cares. Oh, he does. Yeah, he's got Spellblade damage with swords. So, one of the 5 million sword conflicts in Final Fantasy Tactics. Just got Orlando's sword damage LMR. But, again, you don't even... I have the option of just not using it. And uses Instant Cast 3 and Dual Cast Darkness and Night. I think Rafa or Malik have rods? No. Marsh has swords. I know, because I got that one. Marsh is a pretty important character in the realm. Okay, Final Fantasy Tactics. To the surprise of absolutely no one, it makes sense to keep around some swords. And I already blew all mine up. All of them. Yeah, I have none left. Hopefully it never becomes an issue. Again, with the Orlando thing, he's not necessarily locked into swords. Marsh should definitely like to use swords, and then there's Delita, who doesn't matter. So, worst case scenario, and this is why I did it. Worst case scenario, Orlando dual casts, and Marsh uses the sword materia. No conflict. Whatever. So, honestly, tactics isn't that big of a deal. Did I skip over Final Fantasy VI? Oh, no, I didn't. This is just in my inventory. Alright, Type 0? Type 0. Type 0 is an easy one. For me, personally. But I'll go over the entire realm. Ace don't care. 9, do you got spears? No. It's all Spellblade. I know Rem doesn't got anything. Queen is all lightning. I think King and Katir have guns. Both. I remember dealing with this. Nope, it's just King. Okay, never mind. Your hammers. And, you know, imagine that. There's no conflict with hammers. There's no gun dual cast. Your bows. So are there any artifact conflicts? Does anybody have, like... I remember seeing a lot of Type 0 artifacts. There is not a dagger in the realm. For physical. No fist weapon for 8. And no dagger for 8. Can he use other stuff? Son of a bitch! Well, there you go. That's important. Keep 8's fist weapons. Because he doesn't have an artifact to use. Yeah, it is. I know because I just got it. But still, it's the point is just like almost everything can be shattered, but there are some things that deserve to be kept. So 8's fist weapons is one of those things that deserves to be kept. Otherwise, you're going to be using the outer realm, not outer realm, but the non-realm elemental artifact, which is fine, but you can get more stats off of using a synergy weapon than the elemental fist. Even 7 has a whip. Nine has a spear. And obviously, Conk has her conch. No bow for the Bowmaster. Trey. He's got 2 awakenings. It's actually one of the better physical characters in the realm. Out of nowhere. Axe. So, Trey's about in the same boat as 8. You're going to want to keep his weaponry, if you get it. I believe both of his awakenings are elemental weapons, so. Yeah, just got our instrument thingy. I believe that is it. Yeah, because otherwise everyone has gear available for them. Right, yeah, Trey and 8. And I think that's it. Oh, Jack. Jack. Can he, I totally forgot about Jack. You can use swords, though. So I think the only conflict there would be if you're using Jack and Queen. Okay, so that gives you a reason to keep Queen and Jack stuff. 2 people that only have access to a single realm artifact sword. So one of the 2 is going to end up using a non-artifact if you're using both of those characters. Makina also only has access to a sword. So, okay, this is actually a larger conflict than I thought. Makina, Queen, and Jack. Anybody else? No, those are the only 3 sword users. All 3 of them have awakenings. Well, there's, again, no dagger. There not being a dagger is actually turning into a bigger deal than I thought. 9 can use swords, but he can use spears. And there is a spear artifact. So he's not going to compete. The problem with Queen, Makina, and Jack is they can only use swords. Yeah, King and Katzer as well. They can only use guns. There's only 1 gun artifact. And they're, again, both good characters. For some reason, Final Fantasy Type 0 has a lot of good characters. It even has the best character. So there's no reason for me to keep around this hammer. Some juicy augments. Trey's USB bow, I can get rid of that because it went well. All three pulls were fairly good. Like, nothing game breaker or anything, but actually, I think Yuna Awakening was a pretty large win. If I end up using Trey, I honestly, like, I don't think I care. I've got the Rem, you know? I don't think any of this matters. These are just characters that I'm not gonna cure of full break. that's the reality. It's gonna be Minwoo, Rem, and Deuce. Minwoo's there for the Unholy Limit Flash for Deuce. Triple White Mage. There is none. Yeah. She's gonna get a lot of work done. Because she takes so many more actions than everybody else. But tough to say. Is the bot a good hit for you? Yeah, I was just kind of joking with Minwoo. Well, kinda. If I get Minwoo's Limit Flash, I would seriously consider trying that out, but Edward probably would be a better one. Oh yeah, well that is actually better than any of the Awakenings that you got. Is Alma's USB 3. Oh, I keep forgetting to look at it. Banner 2, I want to say. Vincent Rydia. I have it open in a tab. I'll just look. Yeah. Rydia Sync, Vincent Sync, Shadow Sync. Lock, Fire, Limit Flash, Minwoo, Limit Flash. So, Luna Freya. Let's take a look at what this actually does. Are you a usable character now? Oh, finally I get in water on her. Oh. It's row-based quick cast. This is... this is so much better than her awakening. What does Tsunami do? This is like her best relic, isn't it? Or her best soul break. Okay, it's just damage. But that's fine. Well, I was kind of interested in it as if it was a heal. But, you know, that really works together well with her awakening. Because her awakening is a chase heal. It is actually possible that she bumped her way onto my Final Fantasy 15 team now. We'll see. My Final Fantasy 15 team is definitely is wondering if I get Gladio's Sync off of Banner 4 in the festival. They do play together well. But I really like the fact that she quick cast 1 on Brawl. That's so good. So, I mean, who do I use between them? Ignis or Lunafreya? It's got to be Lunafreya now. Because, you know, Ignis is cool. But I have Lunafreya as her awakening. Why not? Why not both? Because, well, the quick cast overwrites itself. And, oh yeah, it's a good enough reason right there. Ignis isn't gonna do shit. So, there's only reason to use one. Yeah. But I don't have Ignis's BSB. So I'd have to get that somewhere. I'm not worried about Final Fantasy 15. I don't think that I'm going to be needing to lens anything to sub 30 that. I have a complete healer. 5 awakenings. My Final Fantasy 15 is mega stacked. So there's not going to be any lensing. And it could get better with Gladio's Sync. New record boards for the Final Fantasy X event, Borat, are Pain and Waka. So it looks like both Braska and Seymour. No bueno. Yeah, I do forget sometimes about the fat chocobos and those record boards. There's water, lightning. The water boards are Maya, Leia, and Strago. Lightning Garnet and Sid Final Fantasy IV. Earth Machina Yang Ursula Guy. That's it. Huge lull on Fat Chocobos for a bit. What about after Final Fantasy X? There's a Fire, Fat Black Chocobo, Genesis, Oron, and Balthier. No, Nebraska. Oh, so I'm going to go over my inventory stuff, which has a higher likelihood of being saved, because this is where all my augmented stuff is. I don't need you. You know, because this is all augmented and I may want to run... like... fun runs, I'll just keep this stuff for now. I'm up to 300 or 536 rainbow crystals. I can afford to put this off again. We can get rid of this though. I haven't used this in a long time. Final Fantasy VI Torment, where I use Celeste BSB and Arcane. This was her weapon. That was... actually... Rexel. January 7th, 2019. Oh my god. It was over a year and a half ago. It's the last time I equipped this. Wait a second. Rexel came out before that. I have a stream for Rexel on September 8th, 2018. September 5th, 2018. But I didn't upload a sub 30 video until January. I wonder if I defeated it before then. Oh, probably not. I think the festival that came before that January 7th clear was the one with Terra's Arcane. That must have been what allowed me to get the clear. The sub 30. I will keep you. Stuff. Oh, yeah. Here's my Blitzball. so I can easily run 2 sharpshooters. In Final Fantasy X. Alright. I wish I had a fight that I could use Lunafreya in. But there's nothing hard enough. The Frit, it doesn't work. My Frit team is already crazy good. So Lunafreya may go unused until Final Fantasy 15. It actually doesn't end up being a problem. I kill a Frit so fast that I only have time to destroy 1 pillar. Then Onion Knight completely obliterates all the pillars by passing the thresholds. In a single turn. So Lunafreya would... When Lunafreya attacks, there's probably not going to be any pillars up. The entire basis of my strat is to leave up 3 pillars and get nailed by a gigantic AoE protected by Aria USB 100% Stone Skin Bubble. It follows up with Defense Resistance Mind? That is awesome. That's the pain in the ass common wall buff, isn't it? Alright. Well, even better. Because she actually has a good Imperial ability to use. Though, there's no reason to if you don't have to. Alright. Yeah, that woke is better. Better than I thought it was going to be. So maybe that's probably better than Alma's USB. Does she get one? Sacrifice Pawn. It's the name of her BSB, so it's Paladin Cecil Syndrome. 5 single attacks grants HP stock 3000 to the user. Overall multiplier of 17.5. Yeah. And that's a 6,000 heal to self if you dual cast. 9,000 if you dual cast while woke. Unaffected by healing debuff. One of these days, I'm gonna do Bio Odin. I don't know why I can't bring myself to do it. It's there for the taking. Well, I think that is all I wanted to cover tonight. Oh yeah, no problem. I don't delete any of my streams. They're all available. Oh shit. God, it's 9:30 already? I forgot to highlight the polls. Yeah. Oh well. Oh, well, I like doing it in real time. I didn't really take that close of a look at it beforehand. It helps when it's a discovery process for me too. Because I'm more interested in searching out information. So when's the next stream? Record Keeper stream. Final Fantasy V is this week. Does that mean Final Fantasy VII is next week? It does. Does that interrupt the event schedule? If so, then that's something I would stream anyway. So guaranteed next Record Keeper stream next week. Been more busy than I thought I would, unfortunately. So I haven't been able to do a casual run yet. I just need to start it. Once I start it, I'll be incentivized to keep on going. Alright, well. I'm out of here for the night. Hopefully be streaming again soon. If not, next week at the latest for Greg or Final Fantasy VII. So have a good one.